Okay, so in this video I'm just going to run through some of the features available in the Rainbow Plus software. So to do that from work, you use the remote desktop connection and you connect to computer shed-10. When you press that, username is shed10, password is the standard password. And once I press OK, I'll be in the system. I'm not going to do that from home because it's a little bit too slow over VPN, so I will use TeamViewer. And I'll connect to the egg collection PC, which is in the grading floor. It's the same software running on two different computers. And what happens, it's disconnected. When it first boots up, the screen looks like this. We press the connect button here. And when we connect, it comes up with all the computers we have in the system. So shed 9 to shed 15. And the optimizer computer here, which is yet to be configured. I can see here there's an emergency stop pressed in shed 14. So basically what we have each house. This is here is the percentage of eggs collected out of that shed today. So obviously they ran these after they ran these later than what they did the time before, which is why there's a higher collection rate there. Here you can see shed 13, shed 15 today we only got the tier 2 because of the little bit extra time that they've taken today to collect the CSL, but never mind that for now here. So this is the percentage of eggs collected. This setting is a configuration for thousands of egg an hour, so it's not running at anything at the moment. Here we have the velocity or the speed of the egg belt running, and this is the percentage collected using our pulse counter. So as the egg belt's running, there's a small pulse counting the distance that the egg belt has run. This one here is the tier number, so that's tier 4, shed 15 on tier 2, shed 13 on tier 2. Shed 14, 9 and 10 don't have tiers, they're the Niagaras. So what can we see? We click on the little chicken, you can see the hens present. So this is something that needs to be maintained at least on a weekly basis to put in the number of mortalities, preferably daily, so we can get a better flow of eggs. Here this tells us the number of eggs that were laid today and yesterday, so we can see in shed 9 that yesterday there were 16,000, today 24,000. So laying rate yesterday is 99.8 based on the number of birds that we've got currently placed, which is 16,396. Here, once we have the feed and water connected, we'll be able to track the feed consumption and the water. So we can do that for each shed. So once you click the management on a particular shed here, you can then skip by. So I'll click on that again, and we can go to each shed. And we can look at each one. So that's all quite interesting. To change the speed of the belt, we can click on the eggs per hour, and here you can see the eggs per hour. It's a red, so it's changeable. So you can click that, type in a new number, whatever you like there. So we'll leave that as what it was. So each shed, shed 9, shed 10, and so on, shed 12, shed 14. So these are our settings as eggs per hour. Apart from that, there's not too much we can do in here, but what we want to look at is just some management graphs. So we can click here, and we bring up a bunch of graphs here. So you can see this one's for shed 9, which is Orion number 9, Orion 10, and so on. So let's click number 14 today, and here we've got percentage of egg collected. So on this one here it's saying only 75% collected, so we think that the belt pulses are not, there's not enough pulses to run the whole length of the shed. So the CellMet's still running the shed, and this tells us that the pulse length isn't long enough because it's only saying 75%. Here, this is the velocity of the egg belt, so we can click one of these and highlight it in the box, and then press the selected graphs and screen down the bottom here, and we get a zoom in on the velocity. We can then highlight it in a box, and we can see the velocity of the egg over time. So we can see here there's no velocity at all on shed 14, which is interesting. So if we go back to our expanded view, on this one here we can actually see the percentage of eggs over time. We zoom in on that one. So here we can see very up and down speeds in shed 14. So this is actually the belts that take go stop, go stop, go stop, go stop all the time. And it's very, very erratic. So you can see it got a little bit better at the end. Here at the bottom we see the percentage completed. So if we zoom in on this here, and then zoom in again, we can see a period of time, and you can see here from 8:42 around to about 9:52 that the belt didn't move at all for that period. So I'm not sure as to why. We can go to shed 12 and we can see a little bit different collection. So again, the belt pulses need to be adjusted slightly. It's saying it's only got 92% completed, but for Selma it says it was 100% completed. Here again we can see the velocity of the belts and the percentage completed. The reason why this one looks like a zigzag is because of the tiers. So we can see here. Interesting again though that this one did not fully run out. Here, this shows us the speed of the shed collected over time, and what's interesting is that as the belt progressed through the shed, it actually got slightly faster on average, which I thought was an interesting little bit of trivia. And what we can actually do is we remove the management graphs and click on this show row tier data little house. We go to shed 12 today. The reason it gets faster is because there's actually more eggs being laid at the bottom of the shed rather than the top, which I guess is kind of not how I thought it would operate, because you'd think that you'd have more eggs at the top because they start on the bottom, but there's actually more eggs being laid on the bottom of the shed in shed 12. If we look at shed 11, it's the same as well. So they're actually laying more eggs at the bottom of the shed than what they do at the top. If we go back to the management graphs, which is the little pictures of thermometers, we can click through each shed and look at this information, and the whole point of this information is to try and optimize the system. So here, shed 10 again, we can see it's quite up and down the velocity of the belt. Here we can see the collection percentage, the percentage through the shed, so it's quite fairly straight line, a little bit of a stop here at the end. You can see this is at 6:30 at night that they completed it. Shed 9. You can see here the velocity is much greater and very quite a straight line. We look here, we can check the velocity of the belt. Again, quite up and down. We run that as a comparator to shed 13. So we have to go back in the past because it wasn't run all off today. So we can scroll back here. 19th, 18th. So on the 17th, so this is shed 13. And we can see the belt optimized. So all the zeros on the bottom are the stops of the conveyor. Again, which is what we want to use this system for to optimize. So we can see here the velocity peaking sometimes at 78 and then stops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Quite a number of stops there. Shed 15. We're going back, this is on the 17th here. We can also click on this and click on the show selected graphs on screen, and we can see the velocity of shed 15 running, how long it took us to run it, and what time it completed. So that's quite a long run time. And that's all I wanted to show today. Hopefully later on this week we'll be able to get Eva to give us a little bit more training, but those are some interesting things that we can do with it. And of course over time we can also have feed and water connected to this, and also show the consumption rates over a day where they're spiking, and same with feed. The point of these graphs is to obviously help to optimize the use of the collection. Okay, thanks very much. So when you've finished you can disconnect it, or you can leave it connected. It shouldn't matter whether or not it's connected. Okay, thanks very much.